Alright, welcome to Old World Gaming. So, the weekend I had a mate of mine round, and we decided to have an impromptu game of Warhammer. So, we didn't want to take too long prepping for it, so we used a couple of armies that you'll have seen before on this channel, just with, I think, just a couple of adjustments on one. So you can see here we've got my Empire army and Chaos army. Um, and we rolled up to see what scenario we'd be playing, and we ended up with the Battle of Gisoreux Gap, the Mountain Pass. So this is a bit of an interesting scenario. So you can see here in the where's my mouse? There it is. So the deployment is actually it's a long, thin board because it's meant to represent your mountain pass, so essentially impassable terrain either side, and it's your pathway through the mountains. So that's quite interesting. So we quite like the idea of that as well, because it's something a bit different. Normally, I think you just kind of play what's it, pitched battle, where you just line up at either side of a normal battlefield and have it out. But it was quite nice to play something a bit different. So if you haven't looked at this one, is there anything else on here? Nothing particularly interesting. Yeah, so set up the normal terrain kind of deployment. In fact, everything is the same. Oh, that's really interesting. We actually didn't play the game length right. We just played 6 turns. I wonder if how much of a difference that would have made. It might have done actually. Oh well, let's just pretend that we did that right. Um, yep, edges count as impassable terrain. Yeah. And victory points to finish. So yeah, so there we go. It's more or less how it normally is, but with kind of a long, thin table instead. So in terms of the armies, here's the armies that we used. So Gore Squalor's Horde, he played in a battle a little while ago against my. I used this force against my son's orcs, and I was just going to say I can't remember how it went, but he won. He definitely won in the end. I feel like it was quite a close game. I don't know if it was now. I'm struggling to remember, but it's you could look it up. It's on the channel. There's a battle report for it. Yeah, he definitely won. It was a good game. He had his wyvern and a giant and a whole bunch of black orcs and chariot and stuff like that. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. Anyway, so this army here, you can see we've got the Chaos Lord on his demonic mount. These guys here were actually made for my Storm of Chaos Nurgle demon army. So these were plague riders, which are plague bearers riding beasts of Nurgle, and these were beasts of Nurgle. But for today, this is Chaos Lord on a demonic mount. This is a sorcerer, also on demonic mount. These guys are chaos spawns, and seeing as plague bearers were once mortal humans, I guess this can be like a spawn stage before they finally ascend to demonhood. I don't know. These were actually made for my Beastman army, but today this is a oh, what's the chariot called? Where is it? It's down here somewhere, isn't it? Gorebeast chariot. There we go. With Mark of Nurgle, and we got 5 Nurgle knights, and we got a unit of warhounds with poison attacks because they've got Nurgle, and they've got Vanguard, and we forgot. So 2 reasons why we forgot. One, it's my army, and I made it ages ago and didn't bother looking at it. 2, my mate who was playing with it has never used Chaos before. He's mainly, I don't know if he's used anything other than dwarves. He doesn't have any of his own armies done. So obviously he came round. We weren't planning on playing Warhammer, so he's using an army that's not familiar to him with an army list that he didn't build. So so we forgot that we didn't he didn't know what Vanguard did, and I forgot I'd given him Vanguard. So that's a bit of a shame because it might have made a difference in the battle. Well, I mean, it would have made a difference, but there we go. Anyway, enough about that. He's got a Nurgle Chaos Army. Right, moving on. So I've got Empire Army again. This army has been in a battle report, and they lost as well. They lost to an Empire Army last time. It was a bit of a civil war kind of clash. It was an 850 point army previously. The difference now is there's a wizard in this army. After deploying, I realised that the general's got a Ruby Ring of Ruin, so a battle wizard with a lore familiar, and he chose Fireball and Pillar of Fire, as you can see here. So I ended up with 2 fireballs in the army, so that's kind of cool. I was after kind of I was like, oh, what shall I put in this army to make it 1,000 points? I was like, I'll put a wizard in because it doesn't have a wizard. And then after writing it and getting everything out, I was like, oh, I don't actually have a wizard painted. So I rummaged around and I found Felix from Gotrek and Felix fame. So he is being a battle wizard for this battle. But yeah, I think he kind of looks the part. He's got a red cloak, just like all good fiery wizards should. So there we go. But other than that, you can see we've got a cannon, a mortar, 2 units of handgunners. This is a detachment for the big unit of spearmen, which is why there's only 6 of them. Unit of knights, and a general with a berserker blade. So he's a chapter master, berserker blade, and Ruby Ring of Ruin. Other than that, basically what you see is what you get. Oh, these guys have got a magic standard, which I forgot to put here, but it's in the points. They've got the war banner for +1 combat resolution. So there we go. Which means I probably didn't update the points there. It comes in at like 988 points, I think, including the war banner. So if you try adding stuff up, it may not even look right on here because I forgot to put them on there. But anyway, trust me, it's 988 points, so there's no cheating involved. Okay, cool. There we go. So we decided that the Chaos Army, Gore Squalor, was leading a bit of an incursion into the Empire, and so this is him kind of entering the mountain pass, and I'll show you a top down of the board in a minute, so you can see what it looks like. But he's brought his forces to come and sweep into the Empire is his intention. However, the local garrison have been summoned, or not summoned. They've been alerted by scouts as to the presence of this coming band of chaos. Yeah, not quite a horde really. There's not very many of them, but they're a horde for our purposes. And I feel like good old Felix, who today is this battle mage, has I kind of get the feeling he's been put on duty in this local garrison, kind of like being sent away, and he's kind of sitting there going, oh, I have to be in this like wilderness place with nothing to do, just like so he's been neglected and yeah, so it's fine. He's like, oh yes, got something to do. Let's get some action. So I feel like that's kind of his attitude towards this battle. But there we go. So oh yeah, and this is this so I deployed these guys here. So this is obviously Josh's deployment. He's put all his troops right at the front. And then he realised that his spawn have got random movement. He's like, oh, and they moved before the rest of his army. So he put them, they were his last unit, and he put them right at the back, because otherwise they'll end up here and kind of bumbling into them or something. Actually, it probably wouldn't have made any difference. I'm not really. We decided we didn't know how the interaction for a unit that moves into another one. So if you know and you can tell me in the comments, that'll be awesome. But we just kind of figured they'd stop an inch away. So actually, he could have just put them there. Now that I think about it, but never mind. Anyway, yes, so these guys have been set up. My thinking behind this was I mainly want to shoot them lots, and then engage in combat. And my wizard, he's the Pillar of Fire has only got a 12-inch range, so he wants to be as close as possible. So he's clearly eager to get some action after having been out of it for ages. So he's right at the front. So this is the site for the Chaos Army, is just this lone wizard kind of standing at the front. Kind of Gandalf style, you shall not pass through the mountain pass. There we go, perfect. So here we go. This is our terrain. It is a 2 foot by 4 foot board, just to represent the mountain pass. There's clearly like the big rocks that you can't, like impassable terrain, and we decided that these rocky outcrops are dangerous terrain because you can they're hard to scramble over and you can slip and fall. So just these top bits here and these kind of rocky cliff bits are dangerous terrain. Everything else is just kind of normal. So that's our deployment. We rolled off. So Josh managed to get +1 to his roll because he deployed first, but I rolled a 6 and he rolled a 2. So I managed to get first turn, which he was greatly displeased at. But there we go. So first things first. I did do some movement, but you'll see that in a minute. I just moved this unit moved up a little bit because they're out of range. 24-inch range on handguns, and we were 24 inches apart. These guys, I don't know why I didn't move them, but I didn't. So there we go. But oh, that's why I moved them, because they wanted to get their 2 ranks and be properly on a hill so they can shoot in 2 ranks. That's why they moved. They just a single rank and they didn't care. So yeah, so those moved up, and then the wizard summoned his pillar of fire. Look at him, all heroic out the front. This is a beautiful. I don't know. It's very kind of cinematic approach. Just a wizard marching out the front. You shall not pass, and here's the pillar of fire. I love it. And so yeah, so that's what the Chaos guys see as they're coming through this pass. Is this defiant wizard with the army behind him? I was actually really worried before I cast that pillar of fire. Looking at my army, very conscious that these are just crappy little spearmen. Empire Knights are alright, but yeah, feeling like I don't actually have all that much stuff compared to his like massive, not massive unit, but a big unit of mounted troops who are all quite hard, and his Lord and Sorcerer. So his Sorcerer actually took the Nurgle spell, which is +1 toughness on a unit, remains in play, and he also took, I think it's Demonic Vessel it's called, which gives you for that turn +1 strength, +1 attack, and -1 armor piercing on the unit. Which is incredible. So that's why he's in the unit. Obviously, he's got a Gorby's chariot and spawn and loads of wolves. It was a scary sight. But the wizard clearly knows no fear and is just marching ahead and casting his pillar of fire. Like, I got this, lads. Stand behind me. Wizards don't normally say that. But there we go. Look at him, loving it. Alright, so yes, here we go. So turn 1, this unit moves up, and the pillar is cast. So the Nurgle or Gosgwala and his army just deciding what to do, and yep, here's what they do. He'll just come charging forwards, which is fair. That's kind of what you'd expect them to do. They've got nothing better to do. They stopped just in front. Oh yeah, the pillar moved forwards as it does every. So at the beginning of every turn, my turn and my opponent's turn, the pillar moves d6 inches in a direction of my choice. It moved that far, and they just stopped in front of it. This little symbol here was to try and represent the fact that he successfully cast his spell to give them all +1 toughness. And that's a remains in play spell. The wolves you can see, one of them did manage to like break its legs, scrabbling over the dangerous terrain. But considering there's 12 of them and he only rolled a single one, that's actually pretty good. And the chariots moved up as well. These guys rolled like 8, I think. So yeah, there we go, lumbering up as a second wave, and that was the Nurgle turn. At the beginning of the Empire turn, the pillar of fire moves this way, catches the the Knights unit, and also the Chariot. Now, because he'd given them +1 toughness, I needed 6s to wound. In fact, I think, yeah, because they're toughness 4 normally. It's strength 3 for the fire, pillar of fire. Toughness 4 normally is 5s. He gave them +1 toughness, so it's 6s. But I managed to roll. So I only rolled 5. Oh no, 5's all right because it's D3 +3. So 5's alright. I managed to roll 3 6s to wound, which was excellent. And we'll see in a minute how much damage that did. I can't quite remember. And I think... I don't remember if I did any on there. We'll find out. There'll be a wounds counter if I did. Yeah, there we go. Now, I don't remember whether it was that from the fire. So, we've got the handgunners shot at the knights. These handgunners shot at the chariot. The cannon... Yeah, okay. So this is where the damage has come in. So the handgunners took a wound off of Gorsqualor. I can't remember who killed the knights, whether that was the pillar of fire or the handgunners, but I do know that the cannon took 2 wounds off of the sorcerer, because now that 2 knights had died, there were only 3 rank and file guys left. So he could be hit, and he wouldn't get a lookout sir, because you need 5 rank and file guys left to get your lookout sir. So yeah, so there we go. And then these guys, so between the pillar of fire and the handguns, they managed to take 2 wounds off of the chariot, and you can just about see a little misfire dice next to the whatever it's called, the mortar, because that managed to misfire, but it was just a 5. So the fuse didn't lie or something. Fuse was wet. The knights moved up a little bit, and my wizard backed off, just to try and stay out of range, out of harm's way, but close enough to be able to dispel. And he did. He dispelled the spell. So when did he do that? I definitely should have done that before I wait. Oh no, that's why, because the pillar moves before the magic phase. There we go. That's why I didn't dispel it first. Cool. So some first blood has been drawn, starting to chip away. The sorcerer has lost 2 of his wounds. He gets an extra wound for riding the beast. But yeah, so he's suddenly in a precarious position. Gorsqualor, the Lord, comes with 5 wounds because he's on a demonic mount. So, but we started taking him down. That was definitely a handgun shot. Took that wound off. So yeah, there we go. First few casualties. Needless to say, in the chaos turn, they just all come pelting forwards. The reason the sorcerer came out of the unit is because the pillar of fire came back through them again. I don't think it did any damage, although actually that's not strictly true, because Gorsqualor has got 3 wounds, so I think he might have taken a damage. He did. He took a damage from the pillar of fire. I'm struggling to remember if that's true. It's got to be true. There's nothing else has done him any damage, and he's taken a wound. So there we go. The sorcerer, however, left the unit and walked round the pillar of fire. So yeah, that's okay. That is what happened. The pillar of fire moved through the unit before they moved. So it moved through the unit, damaged Gorsqualor, and then instead of moving through the pillar of fire, because it has two different effects. When the pillar of fire moves through you, you take D3 plus 3 strength 3 hits with -2 armor piercing. If you move through the pillar of fire, you roll a dice, and on a 1 you lose a wound. So that's the difference. So it moved through the unit first and burnt Gorsqualor, but the sorcerer was right in line to move through the pillar of fire, or severely hamper that unit as they try and maneuver around it. So he just left the unit. They got to move straight on because they were the sorcerer was just here basically. So they moved on and then he walked around it. So that's how they ended up there. The chariot moved as far as it could. Galloping? Do they gallop? I don't know. It's a slug. So probably doesn't gallop, but it's slimed its way as fast as possible towards these guys. Couldn't quite get into combat with them. The wolves, however, the hounds, they charged at the handgunners. One of them died from the dangerous terrain. The handgunners stood and shot and killed two, which made them flee. So they made it all the way there, but then had to flee back. None of them died from dangerous terrain on the way back, though. And then the spawn carried on making their way forwards. So that was an interesting turn for Nurgle. But there we go. That I think that was a really kind of big moment where that I think could have made a difference. Annoyingly, like I say earlier, we forgot that they could have had Vanguard, so who knows what would have happened there. But yeah, so for those guys to run away, they're only leadership 6. They can't use the general's leadership because they're war beasts. So yeah, it makes them a little bit fragile in that sense, quite vulnerable to panic tests. But yeah, so there we go. So that was a bit of a failure on their part. Moving on. So this is the state of play at the end of that turn, actually. So the sorcerer's on 1 wound, Gorskulor's on 3, the chariot's on 2 wounds, and they're all swiftly bearing down on everything as fast as they can. So yeah, there we go. Into the fray. So the knights, where were the knights? The knights were here. They took the opportunity to charge into the Chaos Knights. No one else did. These guys were all fairly happy to shoot point blank. It's not. They could have charged. That would have got rid of the impact hits. But like the two Chaos Warriors on top could take a unit without having a chariot and the beast. Can't remember what the beast is called. But yeah, in here it's a slug. So yeah, so they were more than happy to just stand there and shoot it. Okay, so yes, so the knights charged in. This combat, they took out a knight, and that's all that happened. It looks like these guys finished the sorcerer off. He was in a bit of a precarious position because he was on his own anyway. So the theory was that he's probably going to get shot by them, so he might as well get as close as possible and hope for the best. So I think let's have a look and see what we've got here. The wizard moved out of the way. These guys shot at them. The cannon and the handgunners between them finished. It was the cannon actually finished off the chariot. The mortar didn't do anything. It aimed at them but missed. And the spearmen have moved up. The reason the spearmen moved up is because they're not convinced that the knights can win this fight. And actually, here we go. We can see that the knights did take a couple of casualties in return for that one knight. However, with the combat resolution, the Empire did 1 and Chaos did 2, but the Empire has they both have a banner. But the Empire has a double banner, if you like. So I think did they just win by 1? Something like that. The Empire won that one. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. No, it was a draw. It was a all-out draw. That's right, and they didn't go anywhere. So there we go. I've not had many draws before. I'm trying to think. I did have one the other day. I can't remember where it was. My first draw. But there we go. So this was my second draw. So that's the state of play after Empire turn 3. Alright, Chaos turn 3. The hounds didn't rally and they carried on running. The spawn moved up. The combat happened again, and in this one the Chaos lost only just. They killed 2 knights and lost 2 knights in return. which meant it was the banner that made the difference. And so yeah, so they lost, but he's leadership 9 and was easy to pass and just gave for around 2 inches. So, but they're pushing him back. This is Empire turn 4. The Knights they didn't follow up after pushing him back, so they could charge in and get a bit more of a bonus. The Pillar of Fire. The first fireball went off. Oh yes! I've been forgetting about the fireballs. All game, the fireballs have done nothing. Absolutely nothing. My Ruby Ring of Ruin, right, like at the first, as soon as they were close enough, my general fired the Ruby Ring of Ruin at the hounds. I was like, this is going to be good, and then he failed to cast it. He rolled like a 5. It's bound spell level 2, and you need 8 to cast it, so he didn't cast it. My wizard rolled a 5 to cast fireball, so he's done no fireballs until right now. That little token there is the thing that reminded me that he did a fireball, and that arrow. And I don't remember if he did any of the wounds. Yeah, I think he did. I think he must have done 2 wounds, because the spawn has lost 2 wounds. So there we go. Finally did something. But literally the entire game, they've been trying to cast fireball. Sometimes they've been dispelled. Other times I remember doing rolling some and then just doing nothing with them. So yeah, fireball was real letdown, because normally fireball's really good. 2d6 strength 4 hits is excellent, but yeah, it just was doing nothing all game. So I was very sad by that, but yeah, it happens. The mortar misfired again, as you can see. The mortar basically did nothing all game, but there we go. It is what it is. And I think these guys probably did shoot at it, and I forgot to put my little arrows next to it. In fact, I can pretty much guarantee that all of the handgunners shot the spawn. So the combat then. Gorsqualar, did he take out? I think the champion. One of these turns, the champion accepted a challenge and got taken out. And you can see here, this is my general's taken a wound, and I think that was probably a challenge again, because Gorsqualar doesn't want to get attacked by the rest of the unit, so he's just been challenging my general. My general's been rubbish. I gave him the Berserker Blade to give him an extra attack. But the trouble with the Berserker Blade is it's +1 strength, so he's strength 4 normally, +1 strength is strength 5. It gives him frenzy, which means they have to charge, but I mean they charge just as soon as, well, it doesn't mean they have to charge, it gives them impetuous, doesn't it? Whatever it does, it means they're more likely to charge, but they just charged as soon as they could, so it didn't make any difference anyway. So yeah, +1 attack is the main reason. Like I say, it gives him +1 strength as well, but no AP. I kind of wish I'd give him a lance, to be honest, because a lance has got much higher AP and armor bane. So yeah, he just Gorsqualar was literally just saving. He's got a 4+ armor save and a 5+ ward, so my attacks were just bouncing off him when I could hit. And Gorsqualar was hitting on 2s. Where was he hitting on 2s? Oh no, he wasn't hitting on 2s here. I made that up. So yes, how did this one go? I think so. He did a wound there. Well, we'll see. I think he got pushed back. I think he lost that one. I think that might have been. Is that a pushback and a follow-up? I don't know. So he lost. He definitely lost. Yeah, there we go. And got pushed back. Or that actually is at the end of the next turn. This is turn 4. This is Chaos turn 4. The hounds rallied. Woohoo! The spawn, the Pillar of Fire moved through the spawn. Did it move through the spawn? No, it moved right in front of the spawn, and then the spawn moved through it. And they did they take a wound from the Pillar of Fire? I think they did. Yeah, they must have done. They took 2 wounds from the. Yes, so he had to roll 3 dice because 3 of them were going through dangerous terrain, and he rolled 2 1s, which finished off one of the spawn and injured the other one. So it was a bad day to be spawn moving through that Pillar of Fire. See, that's what it's all about. Dangerous terrain tests for the win. The Pillar of Fire is just excellent. It's such a good spell. The fact that you can control where it goes, you can choose where it goes, it moves every turn, and in particular situations, you can get it to move further than it should move. So a couple of times, let me have a quick look. So like here, the pillar actually moved 1 inch, so it was right there, rolled 1 inch. But because I moved it at an angle, and there wasn't enough space between the this unit and the chariot, bear in mind that guy was standing there, it has to carry on moving until there's space, so it ended up clipping the chariot as well and doing damage to the chariot. So yeah, that's the fact that you can choose which direction, and then you can be really cheeky with it and move it in a direction where, so like this again here, if you pretend that guy was standing up, if it had moved like 2 inches, you can just go all the way through that unit and then clip into the wolf unit and do damage to both units, even though you've rolled like a piddly little amount. So that makes it particularly effective. But yeah, there we go. Back to where we were, which was here. Yeah, so in the combat over here, it doesn't look like much happened. No one died, so just he got pushed back. So they're gradually pushing him away. So and the wolves have rallied and moved. Okay, Empire. Here we go. This is exactly what I was talking about. The Pillar of Fire, right? So the Pillar of Fire is here, and it moved enough to clip into the. I only needed to move an inch, right? To get onto the spawn, but it has to then move over and find a complete space in order to finish. And because there wasn't enough space, it had to move through the hounds as well, and it managed taking out loads of hounds. Now some of them got shot by handgunners, but it definitely took out a bunch of those hounds. The knights meanwhile, at the end of last turn, he didn't run away. That was the end of this turn, so they managed to make him flee. This turn, look, you can see he's lost a wound. That was a wound too much for old Gore Squalor, and he ran away. And they pursued, but the spawn saved him. So he rolled, I can't remember what he rolled, but these guys rolled higher. Now in 6th edition, it was just based on the rolls. If you roll like, I don't know, let's say it was 9 and 11, it was something along those lines. Gore Squalor rolls a 9, these guys roll 11. But purely by the fact that they rolled higher, they would have caught him, no matter what was in the way. But in Old World, because Gore Squalor ran enough to get past the spawn were in the way to stop the knights from completing their full distance, so they weren't actually able to catch him. So he was saved by these guys. So there we go. We stopped and looked that one up, because the last time we played together was 6th edition. So yeah, there we go. Yep, the wolves got burnt and shot, and needless to say, this one ran away. The one that was left alive pegged it. So that was Gore Squalor did manage to kill. Oh, he finished off my general, but he must have done 1 wound in return. These guys moved up before the combat, just in case it went south, and then they could take the charge from Gore Squalor. Yeah, and that's about everything. The cannon. Yeah, I think the cannon did try and shoot these guys. In fact, I could see it's got 1 wound. So I think the cannon took a wound off of the spawn. Maybe? No, it didn't. No, this is what happened. It was a beautiful shot. It rolled, I think it was it rolled a 4 for its first one. So I put it 10 inches away, just like you do. It rolled a 4, and then it rolled another 4. And landed just in front. So it didn't actually do the damage, so it must have been a handgun or something, or even the fire that took the wound off. So the spawn lost 1 wound from one of these sources this turn. Okay, yep, and that's about the size of it. Chaos turn, Gore Squalor rallied, and in this edition you can move after you rally, so he's like, right, I go past the knights and come around here. The knights were busy fighting the spawn at the time. And he's like, I'm bored of fighting knights. Gonna go fight something squishy. So yeah, the knights did actually beat the spawn, but the spawn are unbreakable. They took, I mean, like, it was quite a brutal combat. Half the unit of knights died, half the unit of spawn died, but the knights did manage to win because spawn are unbreakable. They just get pushed back 2 inches. The hound carried on running away. It has insurmountable losses, so if there's less than 25% of a unit left, you can only rally on a double one. So obviously Josh was trying that, but failed. So yep, there we go. Alright, Empire turn 6. Needless to say, the wizard's first move is to not be in his way and to move out of the way. The Empire Knights move up again to hopefully kind of attract him, because he might have gone for the whatever they're called, handgunners. And then everything's shot. These guys shot at the spawn. I don't think the spawn took any damage from them. The mortar got a successful shot off and killed the last wolf. Finally hit by the mortar. It did. That was all it did all game. Didn't really make its money back, but there we go. The cannon shot doesn't. I can't remember if the cannon did anything, to be honest. Nothing particularly interesting has happened to this spawn. I think it's still. Did it have 2 wounds? Yeah, it still had 2 wounds from last time. So it's taken all of these shots at it, and nothing happened. Oh, you know what? I just remembered right at the beginning, and it's worth calling this out. In the first turn, the Empire first turn. Where are we? Here. I forgot to put the markers on. I know that misfired, but the cannon actually did shoot at the unit, and I was like, you'll probably won't be able to save this because it's -3 armor. But Chaos Knights have got a 3+ armor save, and Josh goes and rolls a 6, and he's like, yeah, he just batted it away with his shield. Because I literally just made the comment that's like, oh yeah, it's more than a shield can save you from. And then he's like, punk, smashes it away with his shield. Anyway, sorry, I forgot to mention that earlier, and I was just reminded, and I thought that was definitely worth calling out. It was so, it was ironic that I'd literally just said, your shield will never save you against that, and then that's exactly what happens. But there we go. Right, where were we? So yes, many things were shot. The wizard, and I forgot I left the pillar of fire there, and the pillar of fire shouldn't have been there because the wizard decided to try and recast pillar of fire, and in doing so he miscast. And the miscast he rolled was like number 4 or 5. I think, yeah, something like that. The one where it does a 3-inch blast template around him, and does I can't remember the effect, but it's like takes a wound, something like that. And Josh was like, "No, he's so close to my guy." We put the template, and the template just missed him. So otherwise, that would actually have been quite useful. But just the wizard took a wound from his miscast. So there we go. Yeah, other than that, we just talked through all the shooting, and that was the end of the Empire go and the end of that hound. So all that's left now is the spawn and Gore Squallow himself. He promptly charges into this unit, and my unit champion steps up and declares a challenge. He's like, "I'm going to take him for the team, lads." And everyone's like, "Oh, he's so dead." This guy's got five attacks on his own, plus 2 attacks from the beast and a stomp attack. This guy is a powerhouse. He is excellent, and he's only got an ensorcelled blade, but that's -1 armor save. So he's strength 5, with 5 attacks, -1 AP. Plus he's got this the beast, which has got 2 strength 5 attacks. It's a demonic mount. 2 strength 5 attacks, with armor bane 1, I think, and a strength 5 stomp attack. So yeah, he really does the business. So the champion declares a challenge, steps up, and everyone's like, "He is so dead." Gore Squallow promptly hits him and wounds in 5 times. Yes, this is where the 2s came in. Because he's weapon skill 7, these guys are weapon skill 3, he's over double their weapon skill, which means he hits on 2s. And that was not a thing prior to Old World. It certainly wasn't in any versions I've played. 6 and 7, you definitely couldn't hit on 2s. I didn't play 8th enough to know if that was a thing. But in this version, you can most definitely hit on 2s, and he did. And the reason it made a difference, because he rolled, most of his dice rolls were 2s, like 3 2s to hit. And we looked it up, it's like he actually has hit with all of his dice. And then he's what, strength 5, toughness 3, so wounding on 2s as well. So yeah, 5 wounds. AP 1, he's got light armor and shield, so that gives him a 6+ armor save. But boy, did he have a good go! he took that beating, and he took it again and again and again. He's just like bashing them away with his shield, and then finally it was just too much for him to handle, and the last one finished him off. But man, he did a good job. Which means he didn't actually get much combat resolution from that, because he just did the 1 wound. He also did a stomp attack with his beast, which killed another guy. And I can't remember if his stomp attack is meant to be done outside the challenge or not. It probably is meant to be done inside the challenge, but who cares? So yeah, so combat resolution. They had 2 ranks, a banner, and so what's that? 3 points. You don't get outnumbering anymore. Your ranks only cut from the beginning of combat, so you do get a lot less points than you used to. But there we go. And Gore Scholar only got 2 points, so he lost that combat. And got pushed back 2 inches. So there we go. The Knights won that combat and did a wound on the spawn, and pushed him back 1. And that was the end of the game. They have successfully managed to hold the pass and prevent the Chaos Horde from coming in this time. And Gore Scholar rues the day that Felix was about with his Pillar of Fire. I think it just there was the wizard chucking that Pillar of Fire around just did such a good job. I really enjoyed that Pillar of Fire. But yeah, there we go. That's quite an iconic moment. The you shall not pass, and they did not pass. So there we go. That's how the game ended. We had a lot of fun. It was quite a different kind of game playing the pass. So if you get the opportunity to, do try it. Having the very limited options for movement, and on R1 we obviously had the dangerous terrain. But yeah, it's certainly very different to the games we normally play, where you can be a lot more flexible and have maneuvering. But yeah, something different. It was a lot of fun. We enjoyed it, and yeah, particularly kind of the cinematic aspects of Felix the wizard, like standing defiant against the Chaos Hordes. And the champion doing his best as well. So yeah, there were some good moments in there. A lot of fun. So yeah, there we go. Hopefully you found that interesting. And thanks for watching. Catch you again in the next video.